Okay, so step number one, you have to define your topic. Okay, so you alluded to this earlier, Clay. The thing that all of these thrivers, they have to ask themselves is, who is my ideal and likely listener for this podcast? That's like the first place to start.
Well, the podcast that you started and abruptly ended, but the one you started for a while, it was called The George Michael Show.
Oh yeah,
and it was all about George Michael.
Yeah,
and it was like, this week we're talking about George Michael, and next week we're talking about the meaning of the song "Careless Whisper." Over time, you discovered that the audience, there wasn't a whole lot of momentum. For that, so you had to kind of pivot. Now you're doing something a little broader. I think you're doing like Sam Smith and George Michael, and that's kind of your whole...
It's a little bit bigger.
Okay, but seriously, you have to think about your ideal audience. Who is it? So I'm asking right now, if you're watching and you're a Bernie Sanders fan, right? Bernie Sanders. Let's say Bernie wanted to do a podcast. I'm not going to say who Bernie should be talking about. But let's say you're Donald Trump and you start your own podcast. So Trump is making a podcast and Bernie's making a podcast. Okay, so pretend that you are. Can you pull up that screen, or can you do the whole